guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to do a very quick and easy contouring and highlighting. Yes, this is my daughter Isabella. Say hello. And I'm just a mum like you guys, but I do like beauty and makeup stuff. I kind of take for granted things like contouring and highlighting, and I feel like it's so easy to do, but whenever I have friends around and my sister and my mum are watching me do my makeup, they always ask me, how do you do that? And I kind of thought I would do a very simple tutorial just for mums. Yes. I feel like as mums, we understand each other. We know we don't have much time to do our makeup. So today I'm going to be showing you how I do a very simple contour and highlight. It can be very daunting, and it's one of the things that I think people dread the most because they don't even know where does it go and what products do I use. If you want to see how I did my contour and highlighting, and if you want to learn how to do it on yourself, then keep watching. So I've done my entire makeup apart from my contouring and highlighting, so you can see what my face looks like when I have makeup on, but when I haven't done anything in terms of contouring and highlighting. And it looks okay. I mean, you couldn't tell that there's anything particularly wrong, but it just looks a little bit flat and dull, and I can definitely tell when I forget to do my contouring and highlighting that my face just doesn't look as nice and as polished. So I don't have blusher or anything on. So I'm going to start by showing you my tools, and you can find everything in the high street or drugstore. I made sure that I chose products that were definitely available in Boots or Superdrug so that you don't feel like you have to go out and splash out. All these products are available in the high street. So the first thing is my contouring palette. And this is the Sleek Face Form Contouring and Blush Palette. And Sleek, I think you can find in Superdrug. I'm not sure if you can find it in Boots, but definitely in Superdrug. And this is what the palette looks like inside. So you have your three colors in this palette. You have your contouring color, your highlighting color, and your blush color, which is why I love this palette, because it's complete, it's all in one. You've got everything that you need in one place. And if you don't have this palette, you don't have to have it. You could have other things in your collection, but you do have to look out for certain things when it comes to a shade for contouring and a shade for highlighting. So for contouring, you have to look out for a matte brown shade, and for highlighting, you have to look out for a shimmery or shiny, kind of champagne-y, goldy shade. That's the best way I can describe. And your blush is whatever suits you best. You could go for a coral blush, for a pink blush, for a rose blush. This one is a cross between a rose and a coral, and it has a tiny little bit of sparkle to it, which is why I like, because it adds on to the highlight. So this is in a nutshell what you would have to have in order to contour and highlight the simple way. You could go all out and have cream contour, cream highlight, and then powder contour and powder highlight, but then it's starting to get very complicated. And I know that as mums, and if you're a beginner doing makeup, you really just want to do the basics and get to grips with it. Make sure that you know what you're doing, and then up your game into more sort of like higher levels of makeup. But for start, this is all you need. In terms of brushes, I have a selection of brushes here, and I'll show you the ones that I use on a daily basis and the ones that I think that you could get if you wanted to get a bit more professional. So for contouring, I recommend two brushes. The first brush is a Real Techniques brush. Again, all of these are available in Boots. This is called a setting brush. And as you can see, this is a very small sort of fluffy brush, and it's pointy at the end, which is why it's so good for contouring. The reason why I like this is because it's a small, precise brush. So you're not going to be putting a lot of product on it and then smudging it all over your face. It's only going to go where you put it with your brush. And then I like this brush from Real Techniques, which is the blush brush, but I use this for contouring. And this is slightly bigger, but still quite dome shaped. You can see the similarities between both of them. They have the same shape, but one is bigger and the other one is smaller. This brush I like for blending everything out and make it look all faded and all sort of beautiful and soft focused. You'll understand when I use them, but I just wanted to mention the brushes before I started. It's not necessary to have both of them, but I do prefer the finish when I use both of these brushes. If I'm in a rush, I just use this brush. So if you just want to get one, get this one. For highlighting, I like this Real Techniques Dual Fibre Contour Brush. Now, you can see that when you buy brushes, you don't have to go by the name. they give you an idea of what the brush is for, but you really have to find the best way for you to use each brush. And to me, this is the best brush for highlighting because it's a dual fiber brush. Now, if you don't know anything about makeup, you're thinking, what's a dual fiber brush? Dual fiber brush is a brush that has these soft bristles at the top and then these other bristles, black bristles here at the bottom. And what they do is that they pick up less product, and a lot less product goes on your face, which is why I prefer this for highlighting, because you don't really want to apply a lot of highlighter, otherwise you're going to look like a glitter ball, and that's why I choose this brush. I also like this brush here from MAC, which is very similar, and this is the 163 brush. I actually prefer this one because it's a smaller brush, but you can see that they've got the same idea here with the black fibers and the white fibers at the top. For blush, I like this Zoeva blush. Now this one is not available in the high street, but I'll leave a link below to one that's very similar to this one that you can get in the high street, and it's really, really good. This is the Luxe Sheer Cheek brush, and this is a slanted blush brush. These are my favorite types of blush brushes. I love that they're slanted because it makes it look more natural when you're applying blush to your face. And last but not least, I just mentioned this little brush here, which is the Deluxe Crease brush from Real Techniques, and this is just a very dense, tough brush, and it's quite thick, the bristles, and I like this for blending concealer. Now I know we're talking about contouring and highlighting, but I will be applying some highlighting concealer from MAC just before I start my contouring, because I do like my under eye area to look quite highlighted and bright, and I think that's part of the contouring and highlighting in any case. So I'll do that with you guys and you can see the difference, and that's the brush that I like to use to blend my MAC concealer. So let's start with the tutorial. I've been talking for ages and not giving you any clue of what you should be doing. I'm going to start with the concealer. Like I said, this is kind of like my last step before the contouring and highlighting, and I'll show you what it looks like. But first I'm going to zoom you in a little bit so that you can see better what I'm doing and you can judge my wrinkles. Right, now so we're really close up, let's start with the concealer. So I'm going to use my MAC Prep and Prime Light Boost highlighter, and you can find similar to this in the high street. There's a L'Oreal one which I think it's called Lumi Magique, and it's very similar to this and it's really nice. Excuse the grubbiness, I do use this on a daily basis. I'm going to be doing an inverted triangle underneath my eyes. So first I'm going to trace the triangle down the side of my face, then across underneath my eyes, and then joining the little ends together like this, and then filling it up in the middle. I'll do one side at a time so you can tell the difference, and I'm going to blend all of this in with my finger first because I find that that blends a lot better than if I go straight in with a brush. The proper full-on beauty gurus will tell you to use your ring finger because it's got the softest touch and your under eye area is very delicate, so you should use the softest touch as possible there. But I know that we're very, very busy as mums and we just want to get the job done quickly. So I'm going to do this as if I were doing it to get it done quickly, and I'd simply use my index finger or my middle finger or a mixture of both. But yeah, if you want to do it properly, use your ring finger. And I'm just literally spreading the product and then tapping it into my skin to blend. So that's my under eye highlighting done, and as you can see there's a big difference between this eye, which looks quite dull and tired, and this one which looks very awake and very brightened. And it's not too extreme, it's nothing like Kim Kardashian, like white under the eyes, but it still makes a big difference. If I cover this up, you can really see the difference and there. So it's definitely worth doing this if you're not getting much sleep at night with your kids. If you add a little bit of highlighting underneath the eyes, it just brightens up your face. Now I'm just going to do the other eye. Right, so that's both under eyes done, and I'm just going to use my Real Techniques Deluxe crease brush just to smooth the edges and blend it better with my foundation, because I do realize that this looks quite bright and stark, but once you have all the contour and the blush, it will all blend in well. But I do like to give it a nice blend with the brush to make sure that I didn't miss any edges and everything sort of like meshes in well. I hate that word, mesh. It just sounds so, I don't know, mesh. Now on to the actual contouring and highlighting. So what's the idea behind contouring and highlighting, and why do people love to do it? Contouring and highlighting is basically adding shadow and light to your face. And so when you add shadows, anything in the shadows looks slimmer and it goes in, and anything in the light goes out. So you highlight the areas that you want to bring forward and accentuate, and you contour the areas that you want to bring in and slim down your face. So basically you want to highlight anything on a bone, anything that's really high where the sun would naturally hit, you want to highlight. So your cheekbones, which are these bones here just underneath your eye socket, your nose at the top, your forehead, your cupid's bow, and your chin. For contouring, you're basically going to work on the areas that the sun doesn't naturally hit. So around the edges of your face, underneath your cheekbone, on the sides of your nose, and underneath there your jawline. So this is like the idea of contouring and highlighting, and I know it sounds very daunting, which is why in this tutorial I'm going to do a very simple contouring and highlighting. I'm not going to do the whole face because there's so many tutorials that you could get stuck into it and do the whole thing, but I do think that you guys are here for something very simple and quick and easy. I'm going to do one side first and then the other side in terms of contouring so that you can compare the differences. I'm going to start with contouring. I recommend you start with as little product as possible because it's much easier to add on than it is to take away. When you put too much in, it's harder to blend. So just pick up a little bit of product with your brush, tap off the excess, and start. So to start, you want to find your cheekbones, and the best way to do that is to do a fish face like this. And it's these hollow bits here underneath your cheekbone. That's where you want to start your contouring. So find your cheekbone and start it underneath. So you're going to start close to your ear, so as close to your ear as possible, and go all the way up to the center of your eye, so no further than that. If you have to put a little sticky tape here to remind you not to go past that area, do it. I generally know where to stop, but I'm going to use sort of like the center of my eye as the reference where to stop. Never take your contour all the way down to your mouth because it's not going to look good and you're not going to be able to blend it well. It's just going to look sort of like really weird. So yeah, never take it all the way down. So I'm going to start by drawing a line. Just back and forth motions. And that's the start of my contour line there. And if you compare it to this side, there's no contour line, and over there, there's a contour line. So I'm gonna add more product to make it a bit darker because I do have quite sort of olive skin. So that's my contour line. Now I'm gonna contour my forehead and the side of my face there, and I'm going to do the same thing just along the hairline and back and forth motions. Okay, and next I'm going to contour the side of my nose. Now this is the area that most people don't really know what to do, and what you really want to do is have two very straight lines. Even if your nose is not straight, the idea of contouring is to slim down your nose, and if you have wonky lines, it's not going to slim your nose down. So you want to have two straight lines starting from the edge of your eyebrow here all the way down to the tip. So even though this is a very small brush, I still like to pinch the sides of the brush to make it so narrow that I don't have any chances of doing it in the wrong place. So I'm going to pick up some product and I'm going to trace a line from the end of my brow to the tip of my nose. There. So that's my nose contour line, and I'm going to do the same on this side. So now I'm going to start blending because obviously I'm not going to leave this all looking harsh. It's about looking natural. And I'm going to blend a little bit with this brush just to get the edges soft And then I'm gonna move on to the bigger Real Techniques brush. Now with this big brush, I'm not adding any product to it yet. I'm just blending out the edges because it's so big and fluffy. It will really diffuse the product into the skin and make it look nice and natural and not harsh. If you want it to look harsh, that's fine, but that's not the look that I'm going for today. Sometimes I want it to look a bit more defined, but not for this tutorial. So that should give you an idea of what contouring does to the face. So it's adding dimension and it's slimming down this side of my face in comparison to this side that there's not much dimension going on and it just looks kind of like all flat. And this side you can see that there's a difference in tone there, which creates that slimming down effect. Now let's do blush. I always like to do blush before highlighting. I'm going to apply the blush on the top of my cheekbones but not above the cheekbones and kind of staying within the same sort of line as my contour. And I always like to add a tiny little dab on the apples of my cheeks, but mostly following the contour line. So as you can see, that's added a little bit of highlighting already, but a nice color to my cheeks. And now I'm gonna move on to highlighting. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit of product there, tap off the excess, and I'm gonna place the brush on the actual top of my cheekbone there. Swipe that across, and as you can see, it's added a lovely sheen. I'm also gonna highlight on the bridge of my nose, so just down the center of my nose. So literally just down the center of my nose, like that. And you can see it already makes it look so much healthier and glowy. And just a little bit on the center of my forehead. So just brushing down the center. I always like to touch up my blush after I've done the highlight because it tends to get a little bit forgotten. And that is it. That's my highlighting and contouring on this side of my face. And you can see it looks glowy, it has dimension, and it slims down my face in all the right places. This is the side that has nothing, and this is the side that is highlighted and contoured. I can definitely tell there's a big difference. Now I'm gonna match up both sides so that you can see the full result. So that is the full effect. That's the whole contouring and highlighting on both sides. And as you can see, it makes a huge difference on how my face looks. It looks a lot slimmer and not as flat. It has dimension, it has shape to it, and it's very quick and easy to do. Now it does take a little bit of practice to know what works in your face, but if you follow these simple steps and you keep practicing every day, then you'll be doing this in like a couple of minutes like I do nowadays. I don't take more than 2 minutes to do this, and it's very effective. I think it's definitely worth starting doing if you're into makeup and if you like doing your makeup but you don't really know what to do. This is your first step towards making your makeup look more professional, even though it's something simple. Just gonna add a little bit of highlighting to my Cupid's bow because I fancy it today. And I think it just makes it look quite nice and brightening. And this is it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you found it easy. Let me know in the comments below if you do decide to try and how you got on with it. If you have any questions, leave it on the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my future videos. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!